Hi everyone. Back in January, when I was setting some goals for what I wanted to achieve for 2024, I had a page in my bullet journal for video ideas. So back in January, I wrote down random color picker, and today, in the last week of December, I'm finally going to make that video. If you're new here, my name is Sally and I'm a mixed media artist in Australia, and if you're not new here, welcome back. I have been wanting to make this video and try this out all year, and I'm finally going to do it. I just recently started my new sketchbook, so this is a perfect place to experiment with this idea. I'm really excited. One of the things I love about the art subscription boxes is working with a limited color palette. You're not going to have access to every color that you might want to use. It's also a great idea for when you get, it's almost like art block but with colors, because there's so much to choose from. I think sometimes it's easy to get overwhelmed with the amount of colors in your collection, and just get stuck and frozen. So what we're going to do today is we're going to find a random color generator online and let that tell us what colors we're going to use to make our art today. Okay, so I found a couple of different random color generators. There's this one under randomwordgenerator.com. This random color picker is quite easy to use and gives you color information in 3 different ways. And then there's the random color spin the wheel random picker, which I think would scratch an itch in my brain. I think I would like to see a spinning wheel. So I don't know, should I do both and then decide? But I don't want to be swayed by something that I would prefer. All right, let's do the wheel. Now I think I'm going to do 4 colors. Let's see what we get. Orange. Let me write this down. All right. Orange. Pink. Blood orange. So I'm glad I chose 4. Orange, pink, and blood orange. Oh my goodness, where's the contrast? Let's hope we get a black, or an indigo would be perfect. All right. Red. Okay, that's what we've got. I'm already why did I do this? Let's just do this one just to see. So this one, it just automatically gives you a color when you open the website, but you can choose the amount of colors that you want to enter. So if we put in 4, generate random colors. Now that is a nice color palette. Lemon yellow, granite gray, maize yellow, and red violet. Maybe I'll do 2 pieces. I don't know, that first one's going to be very challenging. But that's the whole point of an art challenge, right? To challenge myself. I'm not going to do this one. I am going to save this one for another day though, because I really like that color palette. It's really speaking to me. So now I also have to decide what medium to use, because I don't have every color in every medium. So I thought I would get the color palette chosen first and then decide what medium I would use to do the artwork. But since our palette is just orange, pink, blood orange, and red, I kind of have those colors in every medium. They're pretty standard colors. I think I might either do watercolor or yeah, I might do watercolor with pencil. Watercolor with some pencil on the top to add a bit of contrast. I think that's the way we'll do it. All right, let's grab a coffee and let's go. Now I've got 3 watercolor sets here, and when I initially saw orange and pink, I was like, oh, I have to use my neon watercolors, the Paul Rubens neons there. Definitely be using those oranges and pinks. And then I've got this Winsor & Newton set that I might use the vermilion, these 2 here. And then I've got the Art Space set as well. And I've got a couple of red oranges here as well. So I think we're definitely all right for watercolors. And then I've got 6 polychromos pencils here as well, which I think, because I've got some darker reds. And I don't know that this is exactly the way you're supposed to do the challenge, because it's not like one specific color, but because everything's in the same sort of tone and color family, I'm giving myself a little bit of flexibility and adding in some deeper reds. So I've got dark red, middle cad red, pale geranium lake, deep scarlet red, rose carmine, and deep cadmium orange. And I do have other color pencils as well, but I thought I would just use the polychromos, and we'll use the watercolors, and let's just see if we can make something that doesn't look really terrible. But I think it'll work because the watercolors, we can dilute them quite a bit, so we can get different contrast just with having the watercolor down and really light colors, and then we can add more contrast and texture with the pencil on top. So I think it'll work. I think it'll work. So I'm even going to sketch using an orange Prismacolor Colorase pencil. So I'm even going to sketch in the palette as well. So trying to stay as much in the theme of these 4 colors as possible. In the middle of December, the season finale of What We Do in the Shadows aired, and I knew as soon as it finished that I wanted to do some character studies. So I already had that in mind before I even did the random color picker. And it just so happened, because Laszlo and Nadia are vampires and my whole color palette is red, it actually worked out perfectly. So I wasn't like super mad about the palette being red, because I thought it would suit these character studies perfectly. I was just concerned about the amount of contrast I would be able to get working on portraits. So I decided to do a gradient wash of watercolor going from red to pink to orange, and that would be my background and my base. And then I would try and see what I could build up on top of that. So I took a break for lunch while that first layer was drying, and I am really happy with this light gradient we've got going from red to pink to orange. Perfect base. So now let's try and get some contrast in and see how these portraits end up while my kitty cats nap the afternoon away. What We Do in the Shadows was initially a mockumentary that came out in 2014, and it was a horror comedy directed by Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords and Taika Waititi. And it's shot documentary style with the documentary crew following around 4 vampire housemates who live together in a flat in Wellington in New Zealand. And it is absolutely hilarious. It did really, really well. Earned 6.9 million at the box office on a 1.6 million budget. So it was a huge success and just really, really funny, great cast, and yeah, awesome, great crew. And so when in 2019, they produced a TV show based on the original mockumentary movie. So we still have 4 vampire roommates, but this time they are in Staten Island in New York, and the characters are different. So the show is incredible and lasted 6 seasons. And so we just had the series finale a couple of weeks ago, and it's so, so sad that it's finished, but I will definitely be going back and rewatching it from the start, watching the mockumentary first, because I haven't seen that in years. And honestly, I want to paint character studies of every single character, but I thought I would start with our 2 iconic leads, Nadia, played by Natasha Dimitriou, and Laszlo, who is played by my all-time favorite, Matt Berry. I will watch absolutely anything that Matt Berry is in. He can just make an ordinary word the most hilarious thing ever, just because of the way that he says it. It's such a skill. I actually came across him initially. I was flipping channels one time years and years ago, and I came across Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, and I was just like, what is this? And that took me on a whole journey, because all those guys and all those people involved in that, they've done multiple shows together, and it took me down this amazing, hilarious rabbit hole of discovering all the shows that these folks had been in, and they're all so, so talented. So watching Matt Berry as Laszlo in What We Do in the Shadows has been such a joy over the last 6 years. And What We Do in the Shadows was one of 2 television adaptations of What We Do in the Shadows, the mockumentary. The other television adaptation is the New Zealand series Wellington Paranormal. And Wellington Paranormal is the spin-off of the police officers that were in the mockumentary. And this show lasted for 4 seasons, and it's about the Wellington police, and their job is to investigate all the paranormal phenomena that are happening in Wellington. And it was also created by Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi, and definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it. I know it's the lesser known or famous of the shows, but definitely worth checking out if you like that kooky New Zealand humour. Okay, I think I'm going to stop painting here and do the facial details in pencil. I'm always so impatient with watercolor, and I always get bleeding where I don't want it to. That's definitely a me problem. Yeah, so I think I'm really happy with the way this looks. It's actually a lot brighter in real life than it is on camera. But yeah, I think we've got a really good solid foundation down with our paint, and now I'm going to go in with pencil and finish it off. Artists, can you please let me know, does anybody else have to sharpen all the pencils they're about to use before you start using them? Or is it just me? I definitely feel better if I've sharpened everything. So I thought I would read you the Wikipedia entries for the characters, just in case you haven't seen it, and this might pique your interest, perhaps. So Nadia of Antipaxos is a 500-year Greek Romani vampire who turned Laszlo into a vampire and later married him. She's frequently frustrated with her male housemates and nostalgic about her human life. She has entertained an affair with a reincarnated knight named Gregor for hundreds of years. only for him to be decapitated in every reincarnation. She later becomes manager of her own nightclub. And Natasha Dimitriou also plays Nadia's human ghost, split from its corporeal form when Nadia was turned into a vampire who inhabits a doll which has appeared since the second season. And she is so good in this role. Really fantastic. And I just absolutely adore her. These two have such amazing chemistry. So good. So then we have Matt Berry as Leslie Laszlo Cravensworth, a 310-year-old vampire from British nobility who was turned by Nadia and is now married to her. A pansexual and former porn actor who is often preoccupied with sexual thoughts, he enjoys sexual encounters with both Nadia and Nandor. Nandor is their other vampire roommate, Nandor the Relentless, also hilarious. And Laszlo also enjoys making topiary sculptures of vulvas in the yard, including those of his wife and mother. It's so hilarious. And these two are magnificent. And I'm really going to miss this show. But I'm glad that I can rewatch it whenever I feel like it. So many hilarious one-liners. I just highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. And if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that if I'm really into something that I watched, I have to draw it like immediately after I watched it. And that's how you can tell what I really like. And I really love this show. And I'm really stoked with how these portraits came out. We made this cursed color palette work somehow. I love it. And I definitely want to do more of the characters. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did and consider subscribing to the channel for more art stuff. There are still other video ideas that I never got around to this year that will go on to next year's list. And I'm actually really happy with the way this turned out. I think the fact that I already had this in mind to do these portraits after watching the series finale, and that they're vampires and the colors were red. I think having, you know, the random generator give us essentially all the same color, it kind of worked in this situation. So I'm not mad about it. It was a really fun exercise and I'll definitely be doing this again. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day and I will see you next time. Bye.
Told you so. You fucking didn't.